Hello, everyone. I'm Dijon,
And I'm Amir.
and welcome to the Mustardcast, the podcast about the art of storytelling and how it's used across different mediums. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see our channel grow, and to click the notification button so that you're notified. Notification bell so that you're notified when we post. As usual, Amir, you can start with what media you're consuming.
So I have been playing an insane amount of Destiny recently. I'm playing on my Titan, which I never do for more than like 5 minutes. I am a hunter main through and through. Hunter master race all the way. But it is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month, and there was a story about this father. He used to play Destiny with his kid all the time, and his kid died from childhood cancer. So now every September, that's asked from Destiny players that they like put gold shaders on their guardians because gold is the color for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. And none of the shaders that I have are appearing gold on my hunter's armor for some reason, like at all. So I've just been wearing stuff on my Titan because that actually works. Uh, so I'm kind of forced to use my Titan all month, which is a little weird because I never use my Titan. So I'm trying to get used to everything, and it's definitely very different than using my hunter. I don't know that I like it, but I don't necessarily hate it either. Um, I have also been playing a lot of Skyrim. My God, that game still holds up. The vanilla game still holds up, but the modding in that game makes it so much better. The first two times I played Skyrim, I played it vanilla. This time I'm playing it modded from beginning to end, but it's not like any like major, like completely game changing mods. I'm just doing like some texture packs, some quest mods, some NPC mods, stuff like that. And it is just such a good game. I'm playing this one more so as a what's the proper Skyrim term? The first couple times I played Skyrim was like from beginning to end was as a stealth archer magic build. So like it is the most broken build in the game. Like you literally cannot get beaten. Well, after a certain point, like you could be in the middle of combat and then just crouch, and every NPC would lose sight of you. It doesn't matter if they're standing like 2 inches from your face. If you crouch, they lose sight of you, and you go back to stealth. Um, this time I'm playing a much more straightforward like fighter build, and it's a little weird, and it's taking some getting used to. I've been dying like a lot because I'm so used to just sneaking around and not having to be in combat whatsoever. But now I'm like actually forced to be in combat, and I'm definitely taking on some NPCs and some quests that are way too high level for me. But I'm having a lot of fun. It is still the greatest RPG of all time. I love it so much. Um, I haven't been watching any movies, but I watch. Oh, that's not true. I started watching The Usual Suspects, which is one of, if not the absolute greatest, like what's the word I'm looking for? Detective movies or crime movies of all time. It is so good. The twists in that movie, the plot twists, like the twist at the end is just amazing. I like you don't really see it coming. It's just so oh my god, it's so good. And Kevin Spacey, even before he came out as like a creep, always played creeps in movies, and I never really realized it until I started rewatching this movie because he played the killer in Seven, who was an absolute creep, and now he's playing the guy in Usual Suspects, who's also an absolute creep. It's just weird that he's just typecast as it, and then it turns out that's who he really was in real life, which is nuts to me. But um, Usual Suspects is really good. What else have I been watching? I've been watching House of Dragon, which is really, really good. It's the Game of Thrones prequel. I didn't expect it to be very good, especially because the later seasons of Game of Thrones were garbage. But House of Dragon is great.
So,
And I started watching Rings of Power, which I'm not enjoying all that much. Unfortunately, I was really hoping I would, but I'm not having very much fun with it.
is so what was I about that? Is House of Dragons a show that you can watch without having seen Game of Thrones?
Yeah, no, absolutely no. It takes place like hundreds, maybe even like 1,000 years before Game of Thrones even starts. Like you can
Yeah,
absolutely watch it before watching Game of Thrones, or you can absolutely watch it without watching Game of Thrones.
because
Honestly, you should.
I've only read the first book and watched a little bit of the second season. I'm gonna have to get around to actually finishing watching it one of these days, and actually,
I really want to read the books. The only thing holding me back is that I don't know when. if he ever is George R. R. Martin, if George R. R. Martin's ever going to actually finish the series, and I hate reading a series that has been left unfinished. I do not want to just start reading Song of Ice and Fire and then it just never gets finished.
Yeah, well, for me, well, actually, before I get to that, because it wasn't on my list, on the list of games I put, because I forgot, Destiny Lightfall is the first time Destiny has ever looked interesting to me in the slightest. At first, I didn't even know it was Destiny. I saw it and was like, that kind of looks like Destiny, but I doubt it is. And then it turns out it was, and I was like, what? This looks cool. This couldn't possibly be Destiny. It looks interesting. But I'll have to see some gameplay because that's all I know is from what I've seen from that cinematic trailer. But what do you think about that Lightfall trailer?
It was okay. It's honestly not one of my favorite trailers from Destiny. There's some interesting things about it that I was talking to Tyler and Marcus about. You people watching or listening to this podcast probably don't know who they are, but they both listen to this. So hi guys. I was talking to them about it. I was very confused as to the city that was presented in the trailer at first because the only known city in Destiny that the Guardians are like in is the last city on Earth. But that's in Russia, and that does not look at all like the last city, like the city in the trailer. It turns out that city is actually on Neptune, and that the planet they're on is Neptune, and they are getting help from this completely different race of like people from Neptune who were once visited by the Traveler, apparently, but the Traveler left them just like they left the Fallen, and now they have basically developed their own superpowers, which I think is absolutely nuts.
And now they're Green
And
Lanterns.
if they do, what you say?
And now they're Green Lanterns.
Not exactly. That's kind of how the light presents itself in a lot of stuff. That's just the newest light subclass. Is I believe poison, and that's what they're using in that trailer. But the implications for if they ever do get around to making Destiny 3, because Bungie has said they're not stopping development on Destiny 2 anytime soon, and if they make Destiny 3, it's going to be a very long time, or like very long time away from now. But just like the race implications for Destiny 3, like if they have more player races instead of just human, awoken, and exo, I want to see a fallen race because like the stuff for what was it? Shadowkeep? No, not Shadowkeep. Witch Queen. And like all of the no, not Witch Queen. Oh my god, what was the Beyond Light? That's what it was, where all the fallen were coming to the last city, and like there's like a house of light now for the fallen, and they're like taking shelter in the last city. I want to see Fallen Guardian or not, yeah, I want to see Fallen Guardians, and I want to see them as a player race, and I want to see like the Neptune, like I want to see like Neptune Guardians. It would just be really cool if like there were more like player races instead of just the like first thing. There's nothing wrong with the original 3, and like choosing your player race literally does not matter gameplay wise. Like there's no difference in gameplay. I just think it would be really cool if you had like Elixni Guardians or Neptune Guardians. That would be really cool to me.
Okay. Well,
but yeah, no, that's about it.
Well, what I've been consuming lately. I've started watching James Bond from the very beginning, the very first James Bond movie, Doctor No. Um, and Doctor No it's a good start. It was all right. It was a decent start to a franchise. But the second movie, From Russia with Love, was amazing. I loved it, and my goal was to watch like one a day. I failed that spectacularly. I just didn't end up doing that. I started watching it because I was on Amazon Prime for whatever reason, and then I saw that they had every Sean Connery James Bond on there. They have all the James Bond movies on there, but specifically all the Sean Connery ones were on there with Prime. But when I started watching them, they were only going to be on there for like 8 more days, and I was like, "Well, damn it!" And I was going to try to watch one every day. Didn't do that. I only ended up watching two, but I'll get around to finishing them all. There's like 20 something James Bond movies. There's a lot of them, but yeah, it's fun. It's very fun going through those films. Still watching Ben 10. Like I said, Ben 10 holds up spectacularly. I was afraid it wouldn't because Teen Titans doesn't hold up well for me personally, but Ben 10 does, and I love it. Also, still watching Batman the Animated Series. I watched an episode yesterday. It was Pretty Poison, the first Poison Ivy episode. Um, uh, Superman the animated series. Still watching that. I finished the first season. I'm excited to get to some of the episodes that show other characters like Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern, or Wally West Flash and stuff like that, and Doctor Fate. So yeah, I'm excited to get to the those episodes in Superman the animated series. I've been finally starting to get through Stranger Things season three. I was like on episode like five or something. Now I think I'm on like the second to last episode. So I can get into season four, which is probably also going to take me a long time to get through because each episode is like a movie. So we'll see when I get there. I've been watching Insecure on HBOmax. It's what's her name? Issa Rae. It's a show by Issa Rae, and it's pretty good. I'm on the second season, like maybe halfway through the second season. It's a good show. Um, but I don't know what day it was, but not too long ago, about a week ago at this point, I got an Xbox Series X. So I don't know if you've done this. I'm sure you've done this because you want a PS5, but on Amazon you can um essentially put yourself on like a wait list. You're aware of that, I'm sure, right? You're muted.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, you can put yourself on a wait list. And I went one day. I was just like, I really want a Series X. Well, I wanted the Series X so I could give my brother my old Xbox because we've been playing Halo together, and I was like, it'd be easier if we could just play online together rather than me having to go all the way to my dad's house to play with him. So I put myself on that wait list, and then they hit me up, and I was just like, it was just as surprising as when I got that email from PlayStation about the PS5. I was just like, I was never expecting this to happen, at least not so soon. Like only like a month after I put myself on the list. And yep, ordered it, came in the mail a couple days later. I was very happy. I'm sure you saw the post on my story and on my Instagram. And yeah, I've been playing my Xbox a lot. I haven't cut on my PlayStation in a minute because I've just been playing games on Game Pass. But those games being Doom 2016, I finally finished it. Honestly, I like Doom 2016 more than Doom Eternal. I like the atmosphere and the level design a lot more, and I like um I don't know. I like the kind of more, I guess, horror, but also I like it. I like the Mars setting more than I do the Earth setting in Doom Eternal. Um, and yeah, the only thing I like more about Eternal is the combat overall, just the movement, especially how you can dash to the side. I constantly wish that I could dash to the side or strafe to the side in Doom 2016, but I just couldn't, so I had to jump to the side. But you can still double jump in 2016, and as well as how you can target specific weak points on enemies in Doom Eternal. With the third Doom game, I hope that they combine both the aesthetic of the Doom 2016 with the gameplay of Doom Eternal and have it take place on some type of space station or something like that for like majority of the game. And like I said before, I want the next Doom game since spoiler alert for people who haven't played or seen anything about the Doom Eternal DLC, the Ancient Ones, I think it's called, or the Ancient Gods or something like that. Like the demons are basically gone. So I would like for them to be like, since demons are in a lot of ways basically aliens, that the next like cast of enemies that you battle are just straight up aliens. I think that would be really fun. Um, so yeah, I've also been playing Red Dead 2 again. Started playing that again. I had deleted it because Red Dead 2 it's a Rockstar game, so it's gigantic, and I needed to make space for other games. That was before I ended up getting my 2 terabyte hard drive for my Xbox One before I got the Series X. I was waiting until I got the Series X to play Red Dead 2 because it takes a long time to load because it's a big game, and now it loads way faster. And even the stuff on the external hard drive loads exponentially faster just by being connected to the Series X. And that surprised me because I thought I was gonna have to transfer some games to the actual console to get those fast load times. But nope. Series X also has this game called Smart Delivery where you can have multiple games open at once and go back and forth between them, up to 5 games. And that's dope. And I learned also that it works to the point to where if I don't close a game, like fully close it down before I cut off my Xbox fully, like fully shut down the Xbox, even if I shut down my Xbox fully, cut off the power strip that it's connected to, which I do every night, cut it back when I cut it back on, it will open that game up from the pause menu in the section that I left off when I was playing the game. It is amazing. I'm so happy to have this thing. But other things in my backlog of games on Xbox that I was trying to get through before The Last of Us Part 1 came out was Resident Evil 3, which is a very short game. So when I got back into it, I was already close to the end, somewhat a little bit over halfway, and then I just ran through the rest of it and finished it. But ultimately, I honestly decided I'm not going to get Last of Us Part 1 immediately. I am going to wait till around like Christmas when there's a discount because there will be. Because I agree with people that $70 is a bit much for this remake. I think that one first and foremost, it should have been on the PlayStation PlayStation's Game Pass, PlayStation Plus subscription service thing at one of the tiers. It should have been on there. I feel like that would have been a no brainer, but PlayStation likes money, and we'll get to that later. But or at the very least, it should have been $50. But it is what it is. It happened. I don't like it, but it happened. So I'm just gonna wait for that discount in the fall, or excuse me, the winter, and yeah. So what else do I have? That's about it. Moving on to animation. Did you watch that trailer for Cyberpunk Edgerunners?
Yeah.
So it's being animated by Studio Trigger, and animation is gorgeous as to be expected. And it's a lot bloodier than anything I've ever seen from Studio Trigger, so that's cool. Just by virtue of the fact that it's cyberpunk, it reminds me of Ghost of the Shell. Cyberpunk and anime, those two things combined just will always remind me of Ghost in the Shell. So it gives me those type of vibes. But it releases September 13th, so next episode will probably just straight up be talking about the show itself. So I don't have too much to say other than it looks good. I'm gonna check it out. How about you?
Honestly, probably not. I'm not that interested in Cyberpunk as a genre. Cyberpunk the game was a lot of fun for me, but that was more because of the very personal story that it told. And other than that, not really interested in the universe or anything like the lore surrounding it or anything like that. I tried getting into Cyberpunk, like the lore and everything, because it is a tabletop RPG, and I really love tabletop RPGs, but I found it really boring. And I hate saying that, but I probably won't be watching this unless I hear like really good reviews about it, because I'm just not interested.
That's fair. Batman Caped Crusader will no longer be on HBO Max. The series will be shopped around to other networks slash streaming services. So it will still be made and released. It just won't be on HBO Max. You know that they're just blindly taking axes to their animation department when even Batman gets removed from the streaming services. Batman, the guaranteed, not just Batman, but Batman with Bruce Timm, Matt Reeves, and J.J. Abrams attached, as well as I can't remember his name, but a very famous writer on these DC animated universe shows and movies. Um, and it's no longer gonna be on HBO Max. So I don't know if you know these guys, but there's a YouTube channel called Watchtower Database that does tons and tons of videos about the original DCAU with Batman, Superman, and Justice League and all that. And on their podcast, they talked about how they might be, and all these things that they're doing is an attempt to save money and make more money. And the reason they're doing this might be it's cheaper for them to shop it out to other networks and have them pay them for that than it is for them to put it on their own network. But it's like it's weird. Like to bring people to your streaming service and make that money, you gotta have good stuff on your streaming service that makes people want to come and watch it. And exclusively having the rights to this Batman stuff and having it on your streaming service would make you money. It's ridiculous. Only God knows what will happen to that Superman cartoon. Supposedly, they've said it's the people working on it have said that it's still happening. It's still gonna happen because we haven't had a solo Superman cartoon since Superman anime series in the '90s. So yeah, that's I hope that cartoon actually happens, even if it does get shopped around like Cape Crusader is. The Gumball movie is also getting this treatment. It's still being made, but it won't be on HBO Max. Uh, so before I move on to the next part of this discussion, what do you have to say about that?
Honestly, nothing really. I'm kind of sad that it won't be on HBO Max, but as long as it's still getting made, that's all that really matters to me. I was very excited for Take Crusader.
For sure.
And as long as it's still getting made, I think I'm okay with it. It just seems a little weird that it's not going to be on HBO.
Very weird. They're making some odd decisions. And it's finally caught up to them because Warner Brothers Discovery lost $2.39 billion in market cap since Friday 8/19 2022, meaning that the dollar value of each share of stock has dropped. And one can only hope that the shareholders losing money can result in someone putting up a big enough fuss to either reverse a lot of this or put a stop to it happening anymore. But that's all I have to say about that. We'll probably end up talking about Discovery, Warner Brothers Discovery, like every week because something comes out every week. But so this weekend with my brothers and my dad, I went to go see Dragon Ball Superhero, and I have this Dragon Ball shirt that I'll probably put a picture up on screen that I couldn't fit when I first got, and then I was like, I should try it on again today, and I fit it like perfectly, and I was like, I lost a lot of weight. That's great. I'm happy for myself. Um, but that's besides the point. Piccolo gets to shine in this movie so much. He is the main character. It focuses on Piccolo. This movie is Piccolo's movie, and it's great. And this movie proves that Dragon Ball movies can excel without Goku and Vegeta. Granted, granted, this movie stars two of the other most popular characters in Piccolo and Gohan, but it was still amazing, and it didn't have, well, it had Goku and Vegeta, but they weren't the main focus and were in it for a very small portion of the part. And the only reason they were ever in it was to tell you why they couldn't come and just defeat the bad guy. um, and they could do the same with Goten and Trunks, Tien and Chaozu, Krillin and 18, or Yamcha, and etc. Like go on, the list goes on and on of the different Dragon Ball Z characters they could have movies focused on. Especially since they're experimenting with 3D animation and CGI animation more, and that allows them to work faster and cheaper. If they can make movies about side characters at a lower cost, then it's more likely that they'll make them in the first place. Um, and it'd also be a learning experience for the teams working on them and result in better 3D anime. But speaking of the animation looked good, but there was one very specific thing holding it back for me, and that was the use of like gradient shading instead of like cell shading or mimicking cell shading on the 3D models. I think they could learn a lot from Arc System Works and Dragon Ball Fighters and the way that they make the 3D models look almost completely 2D. But they'll get better and better at it as they do it, and I'm excited to see more Dragon Ball movies with, like, honestly, I think at this point they don't really need shows anymore. They can just make like a movie every year or two, and that would be enough for me personally. Um, but yeah, you have any interest in this movie at all?
Not beyond it being like Gohan and Piccolo focused. No, I have lost interest in Dragon Ball since 2016, I think, and it has not once even remotely picked back up.
Not even the movies, not even Super Broly.
No,
Oh,
not even Super Broly.
that
Not
movie
the movies at all.
that
Like,
movie's so
I'm
good.
not
I would say
interested.
at the very least, bro, you should watch the movies. The movies are good. Super Broly
I've
is great.
seen all of the movies except Superhero. Superhero is the only movie that I have not seen yet, and I'm still not interested. Like, nothing has happened to pique my interest.
Super Broly's good. I like Super Broly a lot.
It was okay. I don't think Dragon Ball is much for me anymore. Just like I feel like Power Rangers probably isn't for me much anymore. Like, it's just, stuff's not really for me anymore.
You call me old. You're getting old. Um,
I mean, maybe, but it's just, I don't know. I'm not really interested in a lot of the stuff that I used to be interested in when I was in like high school. So,
yeah. Well, moving on to comics. So, you want to start?
sure. None of the stuff I'm reading is new though, but I started reading, or I read the entirety of Justice League Last Ride, which I've been interested in reading for a while but hadn't read. I don't know if you read just. Did you read or hear anything about Justice League Last Ride?
No, not at all. I don't think so.
Okay, so it's really good. It's an Elseworld story, but like it doesn't feel like an Elseworld story. It feels sort of like the DC version of like the Ultimate Universe, even though it's the first series in that universe. And at the end of it, they tease a possible sequel series. But basically, like a year before the series starts, maybe a couple months. I actually don't know how long the time has been, but um, Darkseid was doing his usual thing, trying to take over Earth, and the Justice League was on Apocalypse and Oa. They were split between Apocalypse and Oa, and Batman made a strategic call or like a strategic order for Martian Manhunter, which wound up getting him killed, and it wound up saving it wound up like saving the universe and saving the Earth and everything. But because John died, Clark claims to hold Batman responsible, and he and Batman have had like this little split, which wound up causing the Justice League to like fracture and break, and the Justice League is no longer a thing because of their disagreements. Because Clark claims to hold Bruce responsible, but secretly holds himself responsible, and Bruce is mad at Clark because Clark holds him responsible, but Bruce secretly holds himself responsible for John's death, and it takes place like a year later, and because the Justice League is fractured, but Darkseid is dead, the United Coalition of Planets or whatever it is, basically the United Coalition of Planets from Invincible, has decided to Lobo hold a trial for Lobo and like all the murder and stuff that he's caused throughout the universe, and the Green Lanterns, because most of the Green Lantern Corps died on Oa like a year ago during Darkseid's thing. The Green Lantern Corps, which is now being led by Hal Jordan, and mainly consists of Kilowog, Jessica Cruz, and
Simon Bad.
John's like the Lantern Corps now. They're trying to have Lobo actually stand trial, but everybody wants Lobo dead. So the Green Lantern Corps, while they're trying to smooth things over with the Coalition of Planets, they ask the Justice League to keep watch over Lobo and make sure that nobody kills Lobo while he's trying to stand trial. So they all go to Apocalypse to hide him, and it's a really good series. It's very short. It's only 6 issues, and it keeps splitting between the year ago when John died on Apocalypse and the modern day. And it is really, really, really good. It feels like it could take place in the main universe. I get why they didn't put it in the main universe, but it feels like it could take place in the main universe. I really want to see it continue because at the end there was a tease for something called Justice League Universal, which is basically the Justice League, but instead of saving people in one country or one planet, it's obviously across the universe. And I really want to see that happen. I really want to see a sequel series to it because it was really good. I also I read, because it's only 3 issues. It's a DC Black Label Batman One Dark Knight, I think it's called. And it's basically 16 blocks, if you've ever seen that. But Batman, there's a prisoner transfer, and Batman has to escort the prisoner to Blackgate, but the city, there's an EMP that wipes out all the city's network and everything, and the prison transfer winds up getting destroyed, and so Bruce has to carry the prisoner literally on foot, firemen carry him through Gotham in the middle of a blackout and an EMP. And it's literally the plot to the movie 16 Blocks, just with Batman, but it's actually pretty good. It was a fun little short story. It was drawn by, I want to say, the same guy that drew, I don't remember the name of it. It's Batman Streets of Gotham, which is one of my favorite Batman series. And it was really good. It felt like it could take place in the main universe. Another series that felt like it could take place in the main universe. And I get why they didn't do it, because this was a DC Black Label comic. So, of course, there was a lot more blood and cussing and everything in it. But it was still really good.
That's by Dustin Nguyen.
What'd you say?
Dustin Nguyen is the artist that was on Streets of Gotham.
Oh, yeah. And I'm pretty sure it's drawn by the same. It looked like the same art, just colored a little differently. But I'm 99% sure that was the same artist. But that was really good. A nice little fun short story. And now I'm reading Batman the Imposter, which is really good. It was advertised when the Batman was coming out, and the Batman's costume in that looks very similar to Robert Pattinson's costume. And the artist that's drawing it also draws Bruce looking very similar to Robert Pattinson. I don't know if this is meant to be Robert Pattinson's Batman. It's definitely a bit darker than the Batman, and there's some stylistic changes in there that I don't think fit with the universe. But I only read the first issue. I plan to continue it. I haven't finished it yet, but that has also been pretty good so far. But that's all the comics I've been reading.
All right. Well, I've been reading Blood Syndicate. I think I said before, it's up there with Hardware as one of the best new age milestone comics. Uh, did I talk about Blood Syndicate last time? I feel like I did. I can't remember, but there haven't been any. Well, there might have been a new issue. I might have just not have read it yet. But Holocaust, scary villain, super destructive fire powers, and seemingly indestructible body, and the team of heroes attempting to oppose him grows, and they all have very interesting powers. So yeah, I'm just interested in reading more of the Blood Syndicate. The Flash. So with the help of Wally's wife, Linda Park, who now has super speed for a reason yet to be explained, the Flash family found and saved Barry, but Barry realizes that the other Leaguers must be in a similar kind of he was basically stuck in like a false reality, and runs off to go save them. Meanwhile, the Flash family goes back to their universe to save, well, to do regular superhero stuff. World's finest. I thought this was the last issue, but it is not. Apparently, this is going longer than I thought it was. Um, it's a very fun, heartfelt issue. Robin, after getting lost in a time stream, when he was traveling back to the present with Supergirl, ends up at a circus in the late 1800s. Naturally, it's a nostalgic experience for him, and it's made even better when Batman comes to bring him back with the help of Superman, and they do an acrobatic performance. Uh, but before they leave, they attempt to solve a string of supposed animal related murders. And yeah, World's Finest has been really good so far. And this issue, especially the art, was amazing. Um, Nubia is ending with 4 issues, which I wasn't aware of, but it has been dope reading these Nubia comics. Previously read this is Nubia, Queen of the Amazons. The previous story was Nubia and the Amazons. She was also queen in that story though. But yeah, it's been real nice learning about Nubia and learning more about just the Amazons in general. And a couple months back, I downloaded the DC Infinite app, which I had a what's the word I'm looking for? It doesn't matter. But yeah, I downloaded the app and started adding a bunch of comics into like list and stuff so I could read them later when I subscribe. And I have a section dedicated to specific characters. Of course, I have a Batman section, a bunch of Batman comics I haven't read, a couple that I'm gonna reread, like the New 52 stuff, and I have one Superman, Wonder Woman, of course, the Trinity, and then the Flash, who's my third favorite superhero of all time. So naturally, I have the entirety of Mark Waid's run, which is where Wally is the main Flash, that I've never read, but Wally's like I said, one of my favorite superheroes. So I'm gonna have to read that eventually. And I have a lot of was it her name was just in my mind, Gail Simone. A lot of Gail Simone stuff, including Secret Six. Which have you ever read Secret Six?
I haven't read it, but it's been on my reading
I
list.
had a feeling.
Not even kidding, for the past like 5 years,
I
and
had a
I've just
feeling.
never picked it up.
I had a feeling Secret Six would be something on your reading list. It definitely screams Amir that book, but yeah, it's just fun learning more about Nubia. In the comic so far, she's currently queen, like I said, and she was hospitalized after a random mudslide, which you're like a mudslide shouldn't hurt Nubia. She's basically Wonder Woman, um, but obviously it was more than just a mudslide, and it ended up knocking her out and put her unconscious, and she was in the hospital for a little bit. But they also get more into her backstory, which I mentioned before that a lot of if you're wondering how like new people like new women end up on Themyscira, basically people who die due to the violence of a man outside of Themyscira can be reborn through the Well of Souls as an Amazon. So Nubia apparently was one of those people, and we're getting a glimpse into her life before that happened. And it seems like she was a princess in a kingdom in Madagascar like centuries ago. So again, fun to learn more about her. I read a comic called Spirit Rider. It's a one shot about the Spirit Rider, Kushala, who's a Native American woman ghost rider from the past, and she helps Johnny Blaze figure out what has been causing him to go into a rage and attack innocent people. Um, Her design just looked really cool, and that's what made me want to check it out mostly. And it's this comic is a spinoff from Doctor Strange, Sorcerer Supreme, where like he's teaching a bunch of people how to use their magic, including Kushala, and they all like share the title of Sorcerer Supreme. So I might check that out more to just to get more of the Spirit Rider. And I read that because I finally downloaded the Marvel app, which is a very strange app. So you cannot, unlike the DC Infinite app, you cannot even look at comics and add them to like your list and stuff, at least on the iPad app, without subscribing first. They really want your money. Like bad. Because they won't let you even like try to figure out what comics you want to read later once you subscribe without subscribing. It's ridiculous. So I ended up, using my 7-day free trial just so that I could end up, adding comics to my list to read later. And Spirit Rider was one of them. And before I got a chance to read Spider-Punk, it ran out. And I can't go back and add more stuff to my list because I have to subscribe to do that, which is stupid. Who would do that? That's ridiculous. Obviously Disney because they want money. But anyway, TV and film. Uh, so Community movie is in the works. Series creator Dan Harmon confirms it. He says that it's just a matter of when, not if, but it is happening. What's probably holding him back the most is Donald Glover. He's a very busy man, and that's probably what's why the movie just hasn't happened yet. Donald Glover has a lot on his plate. But yeah, I'm on season 4 of Community, like halfway through season 4. There's 6 seasons. Season 4 hasn't been as good as the last 3 seasons for me, and I don't know. I'm hoping that it, it it doesn't stay that way. Um, but yeah, I love Community. It's probably my favorite sitcom of all time. Actually, it definitely is. So Avatar, the movie with the blue people, is being re-released in theaters on September 23rd. Not only is it being re-released, but it's been remastered. Which you're probably wondering, how do you remaster a movie? Ask George Lucas. But primarily, essentially they're taking what they've done with the new one that's coming out this winter, I believe, um, and applying that to the old one and just re-releasing it in theaters. Honestly, I might see it because a part of what made that movie so popular is obviously the visuals and people going to go see it in 3D. I'm not gonna watch it in 3D. I hate 3D movies, but people going to go see it in theaters and experience that in theaters. And with the opportunity to finally experience this movie that I enjoy so much visually in theaters, I might honestly go and check it out. Yeah, that sounds very interesting. Um, so Warner Brothers has delayed 2 DC films. Shazam! Fury of the Gods has been delayed to December 21st, 22, 20, excuse me. It's gone from this year, December 21st, to next year, March 17th. And and the Lost Kingdom has gone from March 17th next year to December 25th next year. And that's weird. Uh, I'm not sure what's going on there. The Like I said, Discovery Warner Brothers they're making some weird decisions. So also DC Fandom was canceled because their movies got delayed. So they don't really their movies got delayed. Shows are getting shuffled around. They got nothing to show, and that sucks. All of this stuff with Discovery Warner Brothers is trickling down to the comic book stuff, and you hate to see it. I hope it doesn't trickle down to the actual comic books. That would suck. With the shows being removed from streaming services, there's always the fear when it comes to buying games digitally or buying books digitally that the people who own those rights could potentially snatch that away from you, despite the fact that you paid cold hard cash for that, not cold hard cash, but digital cash for that from your bank account, and hopefully we don't get to that point. But She-Hulk, did you continue to watch it despite not enjoying the first episode very much?
No, but I meant to. It's on my list of things to continue watching, and I just haven't. And it's not from disinterest, actually. I just have actually just forgotten to continue watching the show.
Okay, so I don't want to spoil it for you, so I'm gonna talk without spoilers. I don't know. There's one
I
scene.
could care less about spoilers for this show, I'm not gonna lie to
Okay,
you.
I'm not gonna give any major spoilers, but I'm gonna give one. So obviously, spoiler for anybody watching. But so um, naturally, Jen lost her job because she is a Hulk, so that and she saved people's lives, so that kind of she worked for the DA's office, and you can't work for the DA and just garner so much positive attention it would negatively affect all the cases. So she got fired, but she did get another job specifically representing superpowered people at another agency. And while she's looking for another job, though, there are 2 Easter eggs And for the first time ever, we have someone acknowledge the celestial sticking out of the ocean in a ad, in like some like pop-up ad on her computer. It says, "Why is there a statue of a giant man sticking out of the ocean?" And like we need more stuff with people just like talking about that. There's a giant man sticking out of the ocean. Have someone have a discussion about it. But yeah, the other one says, and I don't know if this is a joke or if this is actually meant to be like canon, this is happening, but it says, "Man fights with claws in a bar brawl," which is obviously Wolverine. So is this confirmation or just a fun Easter egg? That is my question. I lean towards Easter egg, a fun Easter egg. But with the way Marvel does things, I don't feel like they often just make a joke like that. I don't know. We'll see. Obviously, X-Men are coming eventually, so honestly, it doesn't matter either way. They could always just say it was true. So yeah. But also, Hulk is going back to Sakaar, and I'm sure you've seen the rumors of people saying that they might try to make a like World War Hulk movie, and this might be hinting toward at that. So that would be interesting. And I'm sure you couldn't have possibly missed or ignored or somehow avoided the fact that Megan the Stallion was in the last episode of She-Hulk.
No, no, I did not miss that fact
Of
whatsoever.
course not.
The internet has made it very apparent, and I did not want to.
Here's the
I
thing.
I do not want to continue seeing this on every screen that I possibly have a social media app on, but social media refuses to let me not see it. So
Here's the thing, though. I don't understand how a bunch of sexist guys out there. It's what's weird about sexist guys is that for these very cisgendered men, they very much make it seem like they aren't attracted to women at all the time. Because how are you going to get upset that there was a in credit scene of Meg the Stallion and She Hulk twerking on screen for all of us to see? How dare you complain about that? It makes no sense. All of these straight sexist men, misogynistic men, really don't do themselves any favors by saying that attractive women twerking bad. Like what? Are you sure you're straight? It's weird, man. I don't know. I don't get these people. It's very strange. Last episode was good though. It was funny. Well, like I said, I wasn't gonna spoil it. You'll watch it. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Moving on to the big part of the episode, video games. So, before we even get to Gamescom, PS5 price hike outside of the US. Prices have increased by around 10% immediately after they announced it. There was a PlayStation blog about the price hike. And PlayStation president Jim Ryan says that it's due to inflation, which, sure, I believe him. But like, this is the first time they've actually increased the price due to inflation, and inflation is a thing that always happens. But and obviously, there's some other economic things going on right now that makes it especially bad now. But this like, I don't feel like I don't know. That's an excuse for them to finally do something that they could have done a long time ago. And because of that, when they do it, it happens like massively and significantly in terms of how much they increase it because it took them so long to get to this point. But like we said before, PlayStation kind of sucks when it comes to accessibility, and that includes prices. And Xbox has firmly stated that they will not be following suit. That could change, of course, but I feel like Xbox, Microsoft in general, is rich enough to where they probably won't feel the need to add money due to inflation so that they don't lose money. Um, and yeah, and what is it? I can't remember. It was the digital? I think not the digital, but the disc version, the one that takes disc version of the PlayStation 5, um, has started to be like sold at a profit and not a loss. So I don't know. I don't get why they're doing it. Obviously, it's money. They're just being greedy, and it's unnecessary. But this is happening after the fact that people attempted to sue them for artificially inflating the prices of their games um in America, which got dismissed. But it's also happening again in the UK. They're suing for the exact same thing. And amidst all of that, they decided to increase their price. Ridiculous. Um, but yeah, that's happening. And it's honestly probably going to hit the US eventually because they did say that it's the blog post states that there may be even more price increases in regions not listed. So I put myself on a wait list for another PS5 to get for my youngest brother for Christmas, potentially, if that happens. But I hope the price doesn't increase by then, because I would still get it, but I wouldn't be happy about it being like an extra like 50, $60. That would suck. Um, but yeah, so the Saints Row reviews are out, Amir. And it sounds like my worst fears were true. Overall, first and foremost, people say it's pretty buggy, but that's something that could be fixed. But something that can't be fixed is the fact that it doesn't have the quality of clever and funny writing or zany and fun characters as the last two games did, or just the last four games really. Well, I would say last three. I feel like the first one was more like GTA. It's getting middling scores with a Metacritic score of around 59, with people saying that the gameplay is janky and outdated in combination with the story problems I just mentioned. One of the positives that I've heard is that the environment and world is visually beautiful and very unique in comparison to other games. But mostly what I've heard is just ultimately it doesn't feel like a Saints Row game. And instead it feels like something else entirely, and that's what everyone has been saying since the first trailer. I'll admit that I haven't played Saints Row the Third in years, and that my nostalgia could very much be clouding my judgment. But even if it's not like it's not like I didn't want to see the series evolve in any form. It's not a perfect game series, but I think Volition Games just completely missed what made Saints Row, and decided to make something that feels like it's trying its best to copy Saints Row. Um, if they don't give up on a franchise after this and try again, I hope that they do what a lot of people thought they would, and what honestly makes sense, and introduce either time travel or a multiverse to the original games like universe, and make a fifth soft reboot. Um, but honestly, all this made me want to do is play the remaster of Saints Row the Third. Um, Once like there's like a significant discount, I'm gonna cop that game on PlayStation and play that, or Xbox, whichever one gets a discount first. And I'll play it. Uh, I'm sure you've seen these reviews. What's your thoughts on them?
I do not care what anyone says. This game looks fun. I watched JV on YouTube play the game, and it looks super fun. I could care less about story or like humor or tone of Saints Row because it's Saints Row. I'm not really looking for like a masterpiece. Like it does not matter to me. But I'm sure somebody's going to be irritated about that because I mean I'm sure Saints Row is somebody's favorite game. So if I offended you with that, sorry, but I don't really care about Saints Row all that much. It just looks fun to me. And as evidence, but if you watch this podcast at all, I'm sure that you know I don't care about how good a game actually is. If I'm having fun, I'm having fun. And it looks like a ton of fun.
That's
So that's all that I care about.
that's fair. For me, ultimately, it's a combination of that as well as I want fun characters. Like for me, it's hard for me. It depends on the game, of course, but it's hard for me to care about a game or have fun with a game if the characters just aren't interesting. Like hack and slashes, for example, they don't have the best stories, but the characters are always interesting. They're always very interesting and fun. And this just, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like a Saints Row game. Part of Saints Row for me is the wacky characters and story. And if you don't have that, then to me, the gameplay alone isn't enough. And also, from what I hear about the gameplay, is that it's extremely repetitive, and like every mission devolves into the same thing, which makes sense. I mean, third person shooter, but it could be more interesting, and they could do some new, like again, like I want to see the series evolve, and it seems like not only is it stagnant, but it also just isn't the same. We're not necessarily the same because I don't want it to be the exact same, but it isn't even really remotely similar. So yeah, that just sucks, and I don't care for the game personally. I'm probably never gonna play it. Like if I heard it was good, then I would have played it, but I don't know. It's middling from what I hear, so it just completely destroyed any interest I had in the game at all. And I hope they don't give up after this, whether it's Volition or they give it to another studio or team to work on it. I hope that they eventually make a new game and actually just continue the story from where it left off, bring back all the old characters, do some sort of like multiversal time travel type soft reboot or something like that. And I think that would be dope. Maybe they'll learn from this and realize, oh, people really do just want those old characters back. Like they really do. Like I think that was made very clear when it's not even that. It's that you can bring in new characters. You just have to. They just have to match the tone and level of like how interesting and funny and goofy the old characters were. But I don't know. That's just me. I get where you're coming from. As long as it's fun, it's fun. But to me, it doesn't look fun. But to you, it does, and that's okay. So moving on to Gamescom, we're gonna start with opening night live, and we're gonna start with the DualSense Edge. PlayStation 5 specifically now has a Pro controller, called the DualSense Edge, and it, what was I gonna say? It has back pedals. Like essentially that's what most Pro controllers add. You can you can adjust and replace the joysticks, which some people say that um they say that they haven't fixed the drift problem. They've just monetized it in the sense that there is still potential for the controller sticks to drift, but now you have the option to replace them if that happens, which some see as a positive, some see as a negative because it's them monetizing the fix to the problem, which I get. But I'm not interested in Pro Controller. It's not like I'm out here playing. Well, one, I just don't play first person shooters on my PlayStation. Like all the first person shooters I've been playing lately have been on Xbox, and I'm not getting an Xbox Pro Controller either. So like I'm not playing at a level to where I feel like I want back pedals or anything like that. So I'm good with the controller I have. But are you the type of person who cares about Pro controllers?
Not in the slightest.
Okay. So they showed another trailer and specifically gameplay for Callisto Protocol, the Dead Space spiritual successor, made by the same people who worked on Dead Space. They showed off some more gameplay and a enemy mutation feature. If an enemy sprouts tentacles and you don't kill them quick enough, they'll mutate into a stronger enemy. It looks like there's like a dodge similar to Last of Us Part Two. When you're meleeing enemies, whether they're zombies or people, you can like dodge their melee attacks, and that was a very interesting thing that I like. There's certain things about Last of Us Part One. Like I wish they brought in the gameplay from Part Two, and I'm mad that they didn't. And that's why I think it should cost less than it does. But there's also like some type of sort of gauntlet that essentially allows you to use the force and lift and pull enemies towards you, and you can either use them as a shield or a projectile and throw them into environmental hazards or at enemies. And it reminds me of an idea for a game that I had or not have where it's essentially Star Wars mixed with Dead Space, where you play as a force sensitive person who isn't aware of it at first, but they slowly start they're essentially going at fighting basically zombies, kind of similar type beings as well as like scary aliens, and they're being forced into a situation where they realize that they're force sensitive, and now they're starting to like get better at it as the game progresses, and maybe they find like a broken lightsaber that only works sometimes, and that works into the mechanics of where like you have to build up a certain level of some type of bar before you can use the lightsaber. I don't know. I just feel like that would be cool. A Dead Space inspired Star Wars game where you use the Force in conjunction with like blasters and a broken lightsaber. Like I said, I feel like that'd be really cool. You have any interest? Go ahead.
So basically, Dark Troopers, the video game.
I don't know what that is.
Dark Troopers is the Star Wars zombie novel.
If anybody in that is force sensitive, then sure.
Does Han Solo count?
What? No, he's definitely not force sensitive.
There's no. Okay.
I mean, maybe in like a what if. That would actually be an interesting what if. What if Han Solo was force sensitive?
I mean, there's a pretty prominent theory that Han Solo is force sensitive based upon how, like, his piloting skills and like how he's able to navigate like asteroid fields that he literally should not be able to navigate and stuff like that. It's a pretty prominent. Have you never heard that?
So let me ask you a question. So that the force can be used in many different ways, and I guess technically that would be considered force sensitive, but I feel like there's a difference between being, I don't know, I'm having a hard time explaining it, Like, there's a difference between having the potential to straight up be a Jedi or a Sith and slightly tapping into the Force for stuff like that. I feel like.
You still have to be force sensitive to be able to tap into stuff like
But I
that.
feel
It's the
like
same reason that
just
Anakin,
because
as a
you,
child, was able to survive the pod races and stuff like that.
but I feel like that doesn't necessarily mean you can go further than that. Because I feel like
That
Force.
doesn't mean you can go further than that, but he has no interest in going further than
Because I
that
feel you
either.
in
He doesn't
the
even believe in the
in the
force.
definition of what it means, you're right. But I think for me, the definition of force sensitive is that you can go further than that. And in that definition, I feel like he's not force sensitive. He just can kind of tap into it maybe a little bit. Because there are a lot of like characters in Star Wars that can do that. Like we've seen it several times in Rebels, and I feel like Rebels is definitely a case where they show the way the Force can be used outside of just telekinesis. You know?
I mean, Han hasn't exactly tried to go further. He doesn't. He doesn't really believe in the force.
Yeah, but I also don't think he should. I don't think like I think it's good that it's just there's a level of he may be force sensitive because of how good he is as a pilot. I think that's good enough. But yeah, Lies of P is a Soulsborne game that takes place in Victorian style world where you play as Pinocchio on his quest to become human. It's gonna be on Game Pass, which was a new thing that I learned, and it was a game that I was interested in, but now that it's on Game Pass, I'm probably definitely gonna check it out now. So yeah, that looks fun. Higher on Life. Rick and Morty created his newest game from his studio, Squanch Games. They previously worked on a VR game called Trover Saves the Universe. It's described as a biopunk first-person shooter, which biopunk is describing the fact that the guns you use are living organisms that talk to you. And this is another game that will be on Game Pass. So I might try it out. Did you see the trailer for or anything from Higher on Life over the last couple of months? It's a very interesting looking game.
You mean before Gamescom?
Yeah, just whenever.
No,
No,
not before Gamescom.
yeah, there's been a few trailers before then. It looks strange. It looks as strange as you would expect a game from the guy who created Rick and Morty to be. Telltale The Expanse. Telltale is back, working with Deck Nine. If you don't know who Deck Nine is, Deck Nine is studio behind Life is Strange. I don't think they've worked on all of them. I think that Life is Strange, people who make it have gone back and forth, like kind of like how the people who make Call of Duty do. And Deck Nine made True Colors, and yeah, it's crazy. Like when I forget where I saw it, maybe in some extra stuff outside of the actual trailer that they showed at Gamescom, but it's crazy that the two of the biggest like player choice developers are working together on one game. And for me, that feels like that makes me feel like this game is gonna be amazing. So yeah, I love the art style. It kind of reminds me of Dishonored. It's now that I'm thinking about it, it's kind of a mixture of the Life is Strange art style with Telltale's art style. It looks like you have a really large area to explore, and it's gonna be made up of a wrecked spaceship, including the outside of the spaceship. So there will be a lot of like 360 zero G stuff. They showed it in the trailer, and in an additional video I watched, where the developers were talking to some people from IGN. So yeah, it looks interesting. What do you think about Telltale's The Expanse?
Usually, my interest in Telltale's IPs come from the IP itself, and not from the fact that Telltale is making it. I've heard good things about The Expanse. I've never seen anything
Me neither.
like from The Expanse. I'm not all that interested. Maybe that'll change. Maybe I'll actually watch The Expanse, but I doubt it anytime soon. So I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, at the very least, when it comes to player choice games, is that I feel like player choice games are built in a way that they're just as fun to watch people play as they are to play themselves. So yeah, either way, I'll be checking it out whether it's watching somebody play it, or if I hear it's really good, maybe I play it myself. Gotham Knights. We'll probably have a really long discussion about this one. So, in the recent trailer, I believe it was called like the Villains trailer. They showed Harley Quinn, Clayface, and they didn't straight up show Professor Pig. They showed like one of his goons, but Professor Pig's gonna be in the game based on that. Um, and it seems like each villain will be hatching their own individual plans, which actually they are. It's been confirmed because since then, it's been a couple weeks since Gamescom. And like I've there's been some more stuff from developers to come out, and they said that the villains have their own things going on outside of the overarching Court of Owls storyline, and you'll be able to do those side missions. And Clayface's goons look like they're just straight up clones of him, similar to like spoiler alert for Naruto, but similar to the White Zetsus from Naruto. And like I said, we saw Professor Pig goon, and IGN released a full on the full on Harley Quinn boss fight. Well, not well, they cut out the last bit, but most of the boss fight they showed, and that was the most interesting display of the game I've ever seen, and this is the first time I've genuinely been excited and interested in this game. Was seeing that gameplay. It made the game look fun, and I was like, oh, something that makes the game look interesting and fun. And apparently, a lot of people agree because everybody's like, wow, this looks good. The rest of these trailers had me trepidatious, but this one has people interested, including myself, who didn't really care too much about the game before. And you, as a person who was already into the game, did these? I assume you've probably seen the boss fight and this trailer. Did these heighten your excitement even more?
Not really, if I'm being entirely honest. I don't. Anyone who knows me knows I'm not a huge Harley Quinn fan in the first place, and the boss fight was just kind of a boss fight. I'm not a big boss fight person anyway, unless it's like super unique and interesting.
I
But this
live I
just
live
kind
for
of looked
boss
like a
fights.
regular boss fight to me.
I live for boss fights. Boss fights are some of the most interesting things in games for me personally. I love a good boss fight. It's probably
For
why
me,
it's
a
why
boss
heck
fight
it's why I
is
like
really interesting.
it's why I like hack and slashes so much, and it's why I like Metal Gear so much. Metal Gear has some of the greatest bosses of all time, and so do most
A
hack and
boss
slash
fight
games.
for me, like, has to be unique and interesting if it's gonna hold my interest at all. And this just looked like a regular boss fight to me. I'm not like it was alright. I'm interested to see what comes out of Clayface though, and I'm definitely interested in a lot of what they talked about on like in interviews around Gamescom around like how crimes and open world crimes work. Especially IGN, they did a IGN thing where they didn't let IGN touch the game, which was a little weird, but they got to see a lot of it and they got to interview.
So that's been happening a
Um,
lot lately. Like every time IGN has talked about seeing a game in the past like couple months, they've always said they didn't let us touch the controller, but we did watch them play it, and it's really weird.
that is really weird because you can't really get like a in-depth like review of how the game feels if you can't play the game. So it's just a little bit weird to me that they didn't let them touch the
Like
game.
the same thing happened
But
with the recent God of War gameplay that they showed that was like 1 minute long, which was like so trash. Like I'm already sold. I'm gonna get the game. But like, why show us anything if you're just gonna show us like 2 minutes of gameplay? It was so stupid. I hated it.
But yeah, no. But in that interview, they talked about how some of the open world crimes work and how the city works. Like as far as like the systems with like crime and discovering crime, taking on new cases and stuff like that works. And that all sounds really interesting to me and really good. Like you can basically decide when a night is over, but you can never stop all the crime in the city in one night because obviously after 15 years of doing this, Batman couldn't stop all the crime in the city, even like over consecutive like 15 years. You can't stop all the crime in the city in one night, and there's always going to be crimes that you've missed and crimes that are going to reset and stuff like that. And that sounds really interesting to me. You kind of have to pick and choose what crime you're going to focus on. That sounds really interesting to me, and I hope that it kind of works like that with cases as well. Like maybe you'll find out like two crimes are linked that seem to have like nothing to do with each other, but like you find out they're linked, and like that unlocks like some kind of side quest. That's what I really hope. I really want the investigation aspect of this game to like be in depth. I feel like it's not going to because I feel like unless it's specifically a investigation, like a game made for investigation, like the Sherlock Holmes games, they don't really like focus on investigation or the like details on investigation are going to be loose. But that like the fact that you can't stop all the crime in one night, that you have to like pick and choose crimes and stuff like that, that really interested me,
Yeah,
and I'm super excited for this
I'd
game.
love a Batman game that put just as much emphasis and like time and you know into the gameplay aspect of the investigation and detective part as much as they do the combat and the stealth.
That's what I really want, and I really hope that Gotham Knights does that for me.
I
Arkham
doubt it.
did not do that for me, like at all. You just kind of walked around the place and looked for clues and then put it together for you. I really want something on the level of like Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1 investigation,
How did you
but
like?
like with Arkham combat and stealth and open world.
How did you like the way the Telltale game did the investigation?
Not really. I mean, I feel like it's still the thing that I really want is the ability to fail. I don't want the game to hold my hand during the investigation sections. And I feel like even the Telltale games hold your hand during the investigation sections because if you put two things together wrong, the game is not built in a way that the story can advance if you make the wrong decision. And you can't make the wrong decision during
That
investigations
would be
because
very
every time that you
that would be very interesting if you could like get things wrong and the story progresses. That would be very very interesting.
that's Sherlock Holmes does that a lot, and what they straight up don't even tell you if you made the right decision. Like you have to read the newspaper like after you solve the case to see what happens after, and even then they don't tell you like you did the right thing or you did the wrong thing. Like it's completely up to interpretation and to like morals as to whether or not you did the right thing.
Yeah,
That is something that's really interesting to me.
it would be fun if the result of you not figuring it out is that the mission essentially gets harder. Like you're put in a situation where essentially Batman's caught off guard because you were just stupid and couldn't figure it out. Whereas if you do figure it out, you're put in a position where you catch the villain off guard because you know what they're planning. That would be very interesting.
Or even something like Dishonored, where like the city gets worse. Like you fail to like arrest the right person for these string of murders, and even more heinous murders start popping up around the city. Like something like that would be really cool. But I feel like they don't really focus on investigation too much in a game about the world's greatest detectives. But
Honestly, I
I
love a
really feel
Batman
like they should. I
game.
feel like it'd be good.
I love a Batman game that was like exclusive, not exclusively, but almost exclusively stealth and investigation. That would be really fun.
That's basically Sherlock Holmes with the Batman shader over it. But honestly, I wouldn't hate that. I really would not hate that.
But yeah, but when it comes to that boss fight, it was less the it was like I like the boss fight, but it was less the boss fight and just seeing Nightwing look like a fun character to play that made me interested. It wasn't just the boss fight, and that's what most people were saying as well. It's like boss fight looked fine to me. It wasn't the best boss fight ever. It did look fun though, but it's not the best thing ever. But it was the way Nightwing moved. He looks faster. It looks smoother. He looks like he'll just be a joy to play, and he was always going to be the character I played the most of. And it just showed me that okay, this game it'll be fun to beat people up, and that's all you can ask for in a game like this. Speaking of a game where it'll be fun to beat people up, did you see the trailer for Where Winds Meet?
Yes, I did.
It
I
is
was watching Gamescom live.
it's from a Chinese studio called Everstone Studio. And a lot of people and even myself saw it and I immediately went, it looks like a Chinese Ghost of Tsushima, but it's more over the top and fantastical, similar to how Ghost of Tsushima is a samurai film in game form. Where Winds Meet is like a Chinese kind of fantasy martial arts film in game form. And just a tiny bit, a part of it reminded me of Ninja Gaiden when he was running across the water, and that was interesting. But also, the traversal looks really fun and interesting, because of that mystical element. Um, some people I've seen describe it as being like how Ghost of Tsushima is for a lot of people the Assassin's Creed in Japan that we've always wanted. Some people have described this as seeming like it'll be the Assassin's Creed in China that we've always wanted. And yeah, this game looks really interesting to me. Um, how about you?
This is like the single player equivalent to Ghost of Tsushima Legends to me. Like it has the same fantastical elements, but also the same gameplay or style of gameplay that like Ghost of Tsushima does. And it just feels like a single player version of Legends because Legends was like dealing with a lot of supernatural aspects of being a samurai. I'm very excited for it. Tyler and I were sitting there like wondering if it was another Ghost of Tsushima expansion at first because that's exactly what it looked like down to some of the what's what I'm looking for, like the when you press like that sense button where it's not like eagle senses, but like the whole screen goes like black and white and stuff like that. Like even down to that, it looked very similar to Ghost of Tsushima for a couple of minutes. But it looks really good. I'm very excited for it. And when you mentioned Assassin's Creed in China, I stand by an Assassin's Creed with like Xiao Jun as the main character. But we're never gonna get anything we want out of Assassin's Creed anymore, so it's okay. I've
We might.
decided to be.
Soon we're getting the Ubisoft Forward, and it was leaked, so Ubisoft officially confirmed the next Assassin's Creed, Mirage, I believe. And the rumors are, like, this hasn't been confirmed, but the rumors are that this game will be, in terms of gameplay, they are taking it back to the first Assassin's Creed, but obviously more modern, so it's not going to be the exact same. But they're going to be, the rumor is that they will be removing a lot of the RPG elements and will be going back to formula. And this will result. This is essentially them laying the groundwork for which will eventually become Assassin's Creed 1 remake. Those are the rumors, and we'll know for sure in the next episode. We'll be talking about it because it will have been officially revealed with gameplay. So we might actually be getting what we want, and we might be getting a Assassin's Creed game that interests me personally. I haven't been interested in Assassin's Creed since Black Flag, so we might get what we want.
I'm always going to be interested in Assassin's Creed. It's just since Egypt, since Origins, it has not been Assassin's Creed that I wanted. Though I did really like Valhalla, like a lot. I haven't played any of the expansions, but I really like Valhalla. It surprised me a lot. I wasn't expecting to like it.
For me, like the last one I played was Origins, and it was all right. But for me, it's like after Origins, the game stopped being about assassins. Like you just started being a soldier, and I don't like that.
Not even a soldier, and honestly, you were a superhero. You were literally like
you were a superhero.
Hero. You had strength. You had enhanced speed. You could turn invisible. You could shoot through walls. Like you were a superhero.
You were a Greek mythological hero.
With Odyssey because I love Greek mythology and I love Greek everything. I had fun with it. That was not Assassin's Creed.
That's how I feel about these Assassin's Creed games lately. Is that like I get why other people enjoy them, but they've turned into a genre of game that I don't particularly enjoy, while also no longer being about what I came to the series for in the first place.
Valhalla really felt like an Assassin's Creed game. Like, I loved Valhalla until I found out. Like, I never finished Valhalla because I found out that you'd never become a hidden one by the end of the game. And at that point, I just it didn't really seem worth it to finish the game.
Yeah, but
so
the next one,
haven't really finished the game.
Just from the poster, which I assume, have you seen a poster for like the new game?
Yeah, Mirage.
Yeah, you're an assassin. So
yeah, you're actually playing as Basim from Valhalla, but before Loki took over his body. Spoiler alert for
Valhalla.
God, the video game, but Loki takes over Basim's body before Valhalla starts, and this is before Loki takes over your body.
Yeah, so you're finally an actual assassin again. So I'm intrigued, and hopefully after I see some gameplay or a trailer of some sorts, I'll actually be excited. But moving on, Phantom Hellcat is a Slavic-inspired hack and slash 2D platformer. More was shown at the Futures Game Show on day 2, and it switches between an over-the-shoulder combat and 2.5D platforming. And I just like seeing more indie hack and slash games, because the reason I don't play a lot of indie games is because I like hack and slash games, and I don't know, they just don't touch on the type of genres that I'm personally interested in. But I feel like Hades and what's the game called? Death's Door have touched on this isometric type of Zelda inspired type thing, specifically with Death's Door. Whereas Hades showed me that I do enjoy other types of isometric action games outside of like Zelda inspired ones. So yeah, I'm starting to get more interested in just indie games in general. Excuse me. Dead Island 2 was announced to officially be releasing. They had a trailer so long ago that I'm sure at this point you had to have seen it. Like the one where the dude's running along the beach and he slowly turns into a zombie. Excuse me. Have you seen that trailer?
I'm a fan of Dead Island. Of course I've seen that trailer.
Yeah. Have you played the first one?
I own the first. I'm 100% of the first one.
I was about to be like, yeah, we could play together. I was like, wait, I have it on Xbox. Darn it.
Yeah, I have it on my 360. That's the problem.
But
I don't have it on my PlayStation. I have it on my Xbox
because after I saw this, After I saw this new trailer, and they also showed gameplay for Dead Island 2, which is releasing February 3rd next year, 2023. I was like, how much does Dead Island 1 cost? And it was like $6, and I was like, bet, and I bought it immediately. Um, well,
I might actually grab Dead Island 1 on my PlayStation 4 because I missed that game. Like that was like my childhood game was Dead Island. I have so many good
and I'll
memories
tell
of
you
that game.
this, it holds up. It's real fun.
Oh,
um,
I believe it. It's one of the few games that I've actually 100%. If I 100% a game, I'm like in love with that game. I'm like that. Oh, Dead Island is amazing.
yeah, it's a real fun game. And Dead Island 2, is more first person zombie games have come out since then, like Dying Light. And Dead Island 2 feels like a combination of Dying Light and Dead Rising. The people working on it have described it as a more like of a comedic and over the top zombie game than like a lot of other zombie games lately, which have taken things a bit more seriously. Um, there will be six playable characters, and it looks really fun. Uh, After playing the first one, I'm excited to see what they do with the second one. And I'm gonna try to finish the first one before the second one comes out. So moving on to the future game show. They showed more of the last case of Benedict Fox, which was last shown at I believe the Xbox Bethesda game showcase. And the last time I showed you, you weren't interested, and this time you still weren't interested. But
I'm still could not care less
but
about this game.
it looks really fun, and I'm very interested in it. I think it's gonna be on Game Pass, so I'm definitely gonna play it. But the narrator of this latest trailer, who was a developer on the game, described it as Lovecraftian meets Metroidvania, and it's a murder mystery. And I was like, it has everything you like. You might enjoy this, bro, but maybe not. I don't know, man. You gotta try. Well, you don't have an Xbox. If you had an Xbox, you would probably be more willing to just try these games because they're on Game Pass.
Yeah, no, I'm not interested in this game. It's a side scroller. Not a big side scroller fan. It's like the art style does not look interesting to me.
What? Our style looks
It's not.
amazing. You suck.
It doesn't look interesting to me. I'm a fan of like super distinct video game art styles. This doesn't really feel distinct to me. It feels like a flash game kind of animation style.
Yours,
It's
okay.
not.
Look. For you to say that it doesn't interest you is one thing. For you to say one, it doesn't look distinct, or two, it looks like a flash game is the wildest shit I've ever heard in my entire life.
I'm not saying the game itself looks like a flash game. I'm saying the art style looks like a flash game.
No, it doesn't. What are you talking
It
about?
does.
Y'all go watch the trailer and tell him how stupid he's being. But anyway, for
I played a lot of good flash games. It looks like one of those.
Spoken, okay, it releases January 24th, 2023. This trailer made me another trailer that made me way more interested in the game than I ever was. The traversal still looks fun. It looks really cool. And every time I see her run, I think like this type of running animation and the speedy dodges that she does makes me think of the Flash. And the way that she runs, I'm just like, this would be so cool as a Flash game. And every trailer, I keep trying to find stuff where it's just her running because I just want to see what she looks like when she's running for an extended period of time and not jumping and flipping and all of that because it just looks cool. And every time I see it, I'm like, man, a Flash game where you're running like this, like when she dashes, I feel like that is like the perfect like base speed for a Flash game. And then with the option to like, of course, like dash and move faster for a limited amount of time, just would be so cool. I don't know, man. This game, all it made me think of was like everything she was doing. I was like, that would be cool for an Aquaman game. That would be cool for a Flash game. That would be cool for a Doctor Strange game. Everything about this game made me think about made me think about superhero games and how cool it would be. But this game looks interesting. I hate the way the UI looks once you start fighting. There's just too much stuff on screen at once. I hate cluttered UIs. Um, I hope there's like a lot of games have had this where you have the option of turning certain things off. I hope this game has that so that you don't have to be annoyed by the amount of just things on screen at once. Um, uh, the world looks big and empty, and I hate big and empty worlds. I just think that is just what it is. It's going to be big and empty. It's just the end of that sentence. I don't know what to say. That's gonna suck. About that part's gonna suck. But the traversal looks like it'll be fun, and maybe just being able to get through the world in a very interesting fashion will make that big and empty nature of it less annoying, I guess. Overall, it looks fun gameplay wise. Story wise, it looks very 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 basic. It's isekai. Person in a strange land that they've never been to before. And I don't know, character doesn't interest me much. I know the actress interests you very much, but I do hope it's good. Honestly, it looks interesting. I can't say for certain it's a game I'll purchase. It might be one of those games where I wait for a discount, but we'll see when it comes out. How you feeling about this game? Forspoken.
You know how I'm feeling about this game. I am insanely excited for this game. I will be pre-ordering this.
Pre-order. Wow, that's commitment.
I mean, probably my pre-order for this is probably going to look like my pre-order for every other game, where I forget to pre-order it until like 10 minutes before it comes out, and I hit the pre-order just to get the pre-order bonus like 10 minutes before it comes out. That happened with Miles Morales, actually.
See, I
completely forgot to pre-order it.
I pre-order games like a couple hours before they come out, so that I have enough time to download it, so that at 12 o'clock midnight I can start playing it immediately. Because I don't pre-order
on my
things.
PlayStation, they typically start pre-downloading. Like even after I pre-order it, they hit pre-download like immediately.
Yeah, so like
and my internet's decently fast.
Yeah, I only pre-order games so I can pre-download them. That's the only reason I ever pre-order games. I don't pre-order games for any of the bonuses. I just pre-order them so that at 12 o'clock I can play them immediately until like 4, and I need to go to sleep because I have things to do in the morning. But Ereban Shadow Legacy, another game that was previously shown at the Xbox Bethesda showcase. They showed more gameplay. It's that game where you play as a character that can sneak through shadows. It looks very interesting. I don't know. I don't remember if this is going to be on Game Pass. Once again, if it's on Game Pass, I might try it out. It just, Game Pass makes it easy to just try out new games, even if you don't stick with them. But yeah, I like the idea of sneaking through shadows in this game. I feel like I have an idea for a ninja game inspired by Splinter Cell and Thief, where you don't necessarily sneak through the shadows, but you might as well. And also inspired by Ninja Assassin, where that movie is a really good like C action movie because the ninjas, when they're hiding, like they aren't actually in the shadows, but they make it seem like they're actually in the shadows, and it's really cool. But anyway, uh, second to last, the penultimate, System Shock. Could you mute yourself? So System Shock is a remake of is a remake and the predecessor of BioShock and every other immersive sim out there. What interests me most about System Shock is the villain, Shodan, who is a narcissistic AI that wants to give all humans cybernetic implants so that she can take over and rule as a god. This is one of like the most important immersive sim games ever made because it was one of the first. It was literally the second, and the first one was made by the same studio that made this one. And I'm very much interested in the remake and just experiencing, you know, this legend of immersive sims in a modern format. So it sounds fun. Correct me if I'm wrong. You like BioShock?
Of course, I like BioShock.
Does System Shock interest you?
It does. Not as much as BioShock, but it does interest me.
Yeah. Okay. So last but not least, originally System Shock was last, but I was like, let's rearrange this so we can talk about the Dark Pictures anthology, The Devil Within Me, which was released on November 18th, 2022, because they showed some more stuff and it looks really good. Uh, it looked like it might be like the best game in the Dark Pictures anthology so far. So they had a trailer like listing out like new features, and those new features included like extended exploration mechanics, which means basically more expansive and detailed exploration, as well as just more traversal of just the area. A character inventory, which is something that Telltale games have had, where you pick stuff up, carry it around with you, and you can use it for specific things. New gameplay challenges like puzzles, because this game is essentially kind of like Saw. The story will be around 7+ hours. Like all the other ones, you can play online, or you can play couch co-op. There are 5 characters, and it takes place in a fictional version of a very real place, which was H. Wells' hotel, where um, a said person murdered people with elaborate traps. Like this is like when I found out this was real, I was like, "Oh, wait, this is like a real thing that happened." That's Did you know that? I'm sure you did.
Yeah, I knew that.
Tell me what you know.
Okay, so H. Wells was a horrible, horrible, horrible sadistic person probably one of the first like documented serial killers, if I'm remembering that correctly. Basically, he was basically like Jigsaw. Like he was just sadistic and enjoyed doing it. Unlike Jigsaw, he did not come up with like excuses as to why he was murdering people. He was just doing it because he thought it was fun, which is honestly, I feel weird saying this, but those are kind of like my favorite types of serial killers to research about because they don't really care about why they're doing it. They're just killing people for fun.
See, this is why I'm not into crime docs, and I don't care about like actual like murder stuff. I like the fictional versions of that stuff because if you like it, you end up saying weird stuff like, I really enjoy these type of serial killers.
I said researching these types of serial. I didn't say I enjoy these types of serial killers. I enjoy researching these types of serial killers.
Yeah, okay.
Because they're interesting. People like Albert H. Fish, who was probably the most prolific and worst serial killer ever. H. Wells, people like that. The guy who inspired the Scream movies, I don't remember what his name was. That case actually made my jaw drop. And I read a lot of like really obscene things. So for a case to make my jaw drop, it's a lot. But
I get it.
It's, oh my god, I'm very excited for this game.
But also, like,
this is the one.
He had a hotel where he would capture people from and also actually make traps to murder them in.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch like 90% of what
No, I'm saying, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but like in this hotel, it's where he captured people, but he also made like traps to murder people with.
Yes.
Very weird.
Oh my god, he's such an interesting person. Terrible person, but an interesting person.
Yeah, no, I get the interest. I'm just not interested.
That's just like, what if like the Joker was real, right? Like these people are the equivalent of that.
Yeah, but that's yeah. What anything else you got to say about the game?
This is the one that I was talking about when the Scream one was coming out, where I was like, this is the one that I was interested in. This is why I was so disappointed that the next one coming out was like another slasher one, because I was like, they released a roadmap of their games and each one looked like it was getting more and more unique and interesting. Like they have like one based on Alien.
Yeah, that's the one I'm most excited for. I'm excited for that Aliens one.
I am too. I'm really excited for that. It's not. I was disappointed because I felt like they were taking a step back. But like, I'm very, very excited for this.
I low-key would love an actual like Aliens like type game like this.
That would be, I want to say one exists, but I'm also not that into Alien as like a franchise, so I'm not sure. But I could have sworn I'd seen something like this specifically for Alien. But yeah, no, that's the extent of my thoughts on that. I'm just very, very excited for it.
Yeah, well, that's all we got. So, as usual, I'm Dijon. You can find my ads below me, both Instagram and Twitter. That's Amir. You can find his app below him, and then Muska's app below that. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel if you want to see more storytelling content, and to click the notification bell so that you're notified when we post. Peace.